Alright, Chapter 4, Hazardous Material General. The chapter that contains the policy, procedure, representative, responsibility applicable to the movement of hazardous material, all modes of transportation, applicability, regulation, hazmat requirements to be applied to the U.S. Coast Guard, military, civilian personnel, the U.S. Coast Guard contractor performance prescribed in the site reference in paragraph B below the specific requirements that hazmat move the defensive transportation are set up with the Defensive Transportation Regulation, Part 2, Chapter 201. Combat commanders may apply with the stringent requirements for purposes of this manual in terms of ammunition, explosive munitions, synonymous. Also, in terms, the hazmat includes all classes of material, including munitions. In transportation, hazmat materials include the defined Title 49 CFR Part 171.8. Moving over public highways will be transported using commercial carriers licensed with the Department of Transportation. However, complying with the operational necessity dictates of the use of the government-owned vehicles, the Coast Guard personnel with the transportation hazmat over the public highways command must ensure all hazmat drivers meet the licensing requirements and training described in this chapter. The hazmat waste and requirement. Hazmat waste disposal, shipping the requirements governed by the Title 40 CFR and Title 49 CFR. The hazmat waste shipped using the Defensive Reutilization Management Offices, or DRMOs, contract qualified hazardous waste disposal contractors. Arrangements for processing, shipping, and disposal of the hazardous waste are made with the Environmental Office of Maintenance and Logistics, or MLC. Servicing Support Command guidance for the hazardous waste disposal shipping can be found in the headquarters of Environmental Management Division or Coast Guard 44-3. Website of the www.uscoastguard.mil/system GSC/GSC C-3H HTML. Security plan. In accordance with Title 49 CFR of the security plan of the requirement for the ship of the hazardous waste, the purpose of the requirement is to develop and implement the plans to address security risks related to the transportation of hazardous material over the public highways. Coast Guard policy to comply with the requirements of all applicable hazmat waste shipments where offered the commercial transportation provided with the motor would be with the government-owned vehicles or operated over public highways. When the hazmat issued an instruction is also referred to the hazmat waste and applies with compliance with the security plan and requirements of the Coast Guard. Shippers shall comply with all applicable requirements inside of the Title 49 CFR Part 172, 704, 117, 800, 117, 802. All modes of the transportation directives describe the security plan components and associated training. The guidance is provided with to satisfy the requirements. The security plan requirements applies with the shipment moved with the commercial government-owned leased vehicles and public highways. Determining the security plan applicability. Determining the need for the developing and implementing the security plan of the management of the logistic command. Coast Guard units and its supporting commands most applicable critical below against historical shipping records, anticipated shipping records in the interest of physical security in order to ensure the consistent compliance with the regulatory requirements. The efforts should be made to ensure that security plans in accordance with the Coast Guard shipping activity will cover the hazmat using the quantity threshold and are stored and more may be shipped. There is but non-mandatory implemented security plan with the Coast Guard locations which never live likely ship will cover the hazmat and threshold quantities cited. Coverage of the hazmat. A security plan required for the Coast Guard shippers to transport and arrange the transport of the following: the highway route, control the quantity of a Class 7 radioactive material such as the defined Title 49 Part 173, 403 in motor vehicle, railway car, or freight container more than 25 kilograms or 55 pounds of Division 11, 12, and 13 explosive material in a motor vehicle, railway car, freight container more than 1 liter or 1.6 quarters per package of the material poisonous inhalation defined in Title 49 Part 171.8 that meets the criteria for the hazard zone A specified in Title 49 CFR Part 173.11.6A or 173.133A. The shipment quantity and hazardous material in the bulk packaging have capacity equal to greater than 13,248 liters or 3,500 gallons for liquids, gases, and more than 13.24 cubic meters or 468 cubic feet for solids. The shipment in other bulk packages of 2,268 kilograms or 5,000 pounds gross weight of more than one class of the hazardous shipment has material for the packing cart of the vehicle, railway car, freight car, or container required for the class under the applicable provision of Title 49 CFR Part 172 Part F. All select agent toxin regulation for the Center of Control of Disease Prevention under Title 42 Part CFR Part 73. The quantity of hazardous material, including the hazardous waste that requires the placard under the provision of Title 49 CFR Part 172 2 subpart F. Components of the security plan. The security plan must include the assessment of possible transportation security for the shipment of the hazardous material listed above. Measures then put in place to compensate which level of the threat of a particular time, and a minimum security plan must be included with the following elements. Personal security. Ensure the measures are planned to confirm the accurate information provided with the job applicant hired for the position involving the access of the handling of the hazmat material covered with the security plan. The confirmation system must be consistent with the applicable federal, state laws and requirement concerns employment practices, individual practice, and privacy, and Coast Guard personnel must be the subject of all favorable suitability investigations. The type of investigations are listed as follows: military personnel, national agent checks, local agency checks, credit checks, or NALCCs, civilian employments, access national agent checks, and with an inquiry, and ACI, and contracting employees. Contractors will have an equivalent suitability to determine whether companies, unless they're working with a classified contractor, that the guidelines listed in the National Industrial Security Program Operation Manual of the Department of Defense 5220.22M will apply. Authorized accesses. Each measure is a place to address assess risk that an unauthorized person may gain to the hazmat waste covered with the security plan. Transportation convenience for the prepared and transportation of hazmat waste covered with the security plan en route with the security. Ensure the measures are placed with the address security risk of the shipment of the hazmat waste covered with the security plan and the route from the original destination, including temporary storage and incidental movement using the Department of Defense electronic transportation system of the freight routing with a hazmat DoD contract with the movement disposal of the hazmat waste. Ensures the en route with the security plan. Ensures the address for the Coast Guard organic transportation equipment to use the hazmat over the public highways. The route security measures must also be addressed in the security plan. Security plan documentation. The security plan in writing must be retained but updated with the required as long as it remains affects the copy of the security portions that must be available for the employees who are reasonably implementing consistent with the personal security clearance of the background investigation restrictions. Demonstration needs to be known. The security plan must be revised, updated, and is necessary to reflect the changing circumstances. When the security plan is updated with revised, all copies of the plan must be maintained upon the date of the most recent revision. Training. As well as part of the overall training as cited in Title 49, 172.704, the security awareness and depth of the security training must be as follows as defined in Title 49 CFR 171.8, and to see all the definitions, each hazmat employer must ensure that the hazmat employees also provided the appropriate level of training whenever a Coast Guard employee or contractor meets the definition of a hazmat employee, the training of the requirements applied with the Coast Guard effectively becomes the hazmat employer. It employs the hazmat employees where the hazmat shipping activities occur in the operational sites. Hazmat or employer definition. The hazmat employer means a person who has one or more of the employees in connection with the transportation of hazardous materials in commercial with the causing the hazardous materials and transported with the shipping and the commerce. Representing and the marketing, the certifying, selling, offering, manufacturing, reconditioning, testing, repairing, modifying, containing drums, packaging, also qualified in transportation hazardous material. There is terms including the owner, operator of the motor vehicle, the transportation hazardous material and commerce. With the term also includes the department, agency, instrument of the United States, a public political subdivision of the state, Indian tribe engaged with the activity described in the first sentence of the definition. Alright, hazmat employee definition. The hazmat employee means the person who is employed by the hazmat employer who can, in course of employment, directly affects the hazardous material transportation safety. The term includes the ownership and operator of the motor vehicle, the transportation hazardous material, and commerce. The terms include the individual, including the self-employed individual employed as a hazmat employer who should, during this course of employment, loads, unloads, handles hazardous material, manufactures, tests, reconditions, repairs, modifies, marks, otherwise represents container drums and packaging as qualified as used in the transportation of hazardous material, prepares hazardous material for the transportation in response for safety of the transportation hazardous material, operates the vehicle with the use of the transportation hazardous materials. Security awareness. Each of the Coast Guard hazardous material employee must receive the training to provide awareness of the security risk associated with the hazardous material transportation methods designated to enhance the transportation security. The training must also include the component of covering how to recognize and respond to possible security threats. New hazmat employees must receive the security training awareness training within 90 days after the employment. In-depth security training. Each of the Coast Guard hazmat employees shipping facilities will require the security plan and must be trained with concern with the security plan. Implementation security training must be included with the Coast Guard unit with the security objectives, specific security procedures employed, the responsibility, action to take an event and security each utilization or organization of the training shall be given to the new employees within 30 days. Employees may perform a hazmat function prior to the function completing, provided that these functions are provided under the direction and supervision of properly trained knowledgeable hazmat employees. Recurrent to training. A Coast Guard hazmat employee should receive the training at least once every 2 years. Record keeping. A record of current training inclusive of the preceding the 2 years shall be created with the Coast Guard unit in support of the command. Of the training record shall include the hazmat employee's name, the most recent training completion with the date of hazmat employer training of the 3, a description of the location of the training materials used to meet the applicable level of training requirements. 4, the source of the training, name and the office, the phone number of the person provided with the training of the following, the name of his or her, the Coast Guard office in the training of the conductor, the surface or other than Coast Guard employee, the name of the individual company, agency, and the full address. G, certification. Successful training of the unit in support of the command shall document the training issued the appropriate certificate stating the hazmat employee has successfully trained and tested. Format and written part of the security plan. There is no standard format that required for the security plan. However, all the requirements components of the plan must be clearly addressed and presented with a clear understanding effective of the operational employee, contractor, security personnel. Governing regulation publication applicable current editions. Following the regulation, publication must be used to prepare the package and mark the label and certify the shipment of the hazardous material. The Code of Regulations, Title 49, governs all domestic modes. International Civilian Aviation Organization Regulation publishes the International Air Transportation Association governing international commercial air shipments. For more information, purchasing a current IAT dangerous publication, IATA.online, telephone 1-871-66-32-60, information hotline 1-514-390-6770, or email dangood@iata.org. Preparing hazardous material for military shipment, AFMAN 24204 series, governing military area shipments, international military dangerous codes, governs international maritime shipment. For information pertaining to the IMDG publication, go to the imo.org.home. Coast Guard air operations of the combat truck, the military 37101, governing shipments moving the Coast Guard. Go to Coast Guard, go to GOACA website, view publication. D, responsibility. Transportation officer shall comply with the regulation instruction governing the safety of transportation and hazmat applicable modes of transportation. Ensure all personnel preparing hazmat shipping, marking, labeling, packaging, certifying the shipping papers are properly named in accordance with the hazmat regulation governing the mode of shipment to be used. Ensure that only certified individuals who have physically access to the hazmat which is being offered for the shipment is signed with the hazmat certification forms. Note the shipping paper to the Department of Defense, the Department of Transportation exemption number, the component authority approval, the number, the certification equivalency number, if applicable, when calling for the carrier pick up to notify that the carrier represented material being shipped to the hazmat. Ensure that releasing the hazmat vehicle driver has and have a valid commercial driver's license with a hazmat endorsement and hazmat shipment. The driver shall have the route and prescribed in the Title 49 CFR Part 3097 for explosive shipments Class 1, Division 1, 1, 2, and 13. Ensure that the vehicle driver has completed shipping papers and prior to the release. Ensure the commercial military vehicle receiving the emergency response instructions. See the paragraph L for the chapter of the emergency response, telephone number, information, proper reporting procedures, accidents and reports, and delay routes. The trace munitions Class 1 shipments when not received 24 hours in the estimated time. Arrival, contact the Military Surface Deployment and Distribution Command, or SDDDC, 1-800-526-1465 or 1-757-878-8669. Report the overage short of the damage or other transportation discrepancies according with the Chapter 9 and the applicable the reports or shipments or rep shipment consigning with the DTR Part 2, the Chapter 204 for examples of the report of the shipment, the Chapter 5 with more information on the report of the shipment requirements. The reports will transfer it or edited no later than 2 hours after the shipment departure for the should be made by the telephone, fax, machine, or other immediate means. And ensure that the shipment are loaded and blocked and braced in accordance with the Title 49. Ensure the applicable transportation code, control movement documentation, or TSMDs, complete with the Defensive Transportation System exports the shipments according to the Defensive Transportation Regulation Part 2 to advance the transportation control movement demands. Documents export the airlifting munition shipments will be sent with the Surface Air Clearance Authority, ACA, as prescribed in the Defensive Transportation Regulation Part 2. Contact these where did I find that? I don't know. The SDDDC operations further guidance from the movement, munitions, aerial, and ocean support exports 1-800-526-1456, 175-878-8669 for shipments certified in accordance with the IMDG Ensure the container vehicle parking certification prepared with each of the cargo transportation unit contacting hazmat vehicle, which was regulated with a hazmat pick of the packed within the form will serve as a guide when the packing contain the vehicle. A copy of the form is similar must be signed with the will may be avoided. The state port authority see Exhibit 4.1 for the container packing certification vehicle packing declaration form. E. Hazmat certification requirements. All personnel handling packages and certifying hazmat shipments must be trained within accordance with paragraph 5F of this chapter. In all of the cases, the individual who signs the certification statement must personally inspect the hazmat item being certified. Shippers shall comply with the local, state, and federal Title 49 international laws and regulation when shipping the items via the Department of Transportation Service System, Defense Transportation System, and following the regulations agreements must comply with the Department of Defense component publication status of force agreement or SOFA standard North Atlantic Treaty Organization agreements in host countries. U.S. Coast Guard personnel, contractor personnel who fail to comply with liability, civil, criminal penalties. Airlift requirements. Military aircraft. The requirements contain preparing hazardous material for military air shipments. AFMAN 24204, Navy Sub Pub 505 TM 338 250 MCLP 403019 series and DLAI 4145-3 series shall apply. Commercial aircraft, airlift, and commercial airlift military hazardous materials utilizing the contracting air contractors authorized in accordance with the Department of Transportation exemption .T.E. and 75, 73, 92, 32. The requirements of AFMAN 24204 Navy Sub Pub 505 TM 38 250 MCO 40 P 4030.19H DLAI 4145.33 preparing hazardous material military air shipping apply. Aircraft is scheduled and charter service and procedure of the transportation government owned with small arms ammunition hazmat aboard with the commercial aircraft. The scheduled character services are contained in the Defensive Transportation Regulation Part 2. Alright, military vehicle surface movement installation other than public highway with respective installation based on the commanding officer shall determine the requirements of on-post of the installation of transportation regulated amounts of the hazmat is defined in Title 49 CFR 172-101. The hazmat table, the minimum operational training with the driver license, minimum blocking, bracing requirements, emergency notifying procedure for the incident accidents on the road of control with the United States Coast Guard will address. When the road is considered in control by the U.S. Standard Coast Guard is access. The road is restricted at all the time through the use of the gates and guards. Installation. Public access. Comply with the requirements of the paragraph E3 of the chapter that has material with the uncontrolled road. If the road is considered uncontrolled by the U.S. Standard Coast Guard by the use of the general public, included with the family member, military, government personnel, without having and gaining access through a control access point off installation movement of the hazmat over the public highways consistent with Title 49 with the regulation applicable to the Department of Defense regulation, including operation needed for the immediate daily training, mission readiness requirements, or the EOD, security forces, munitions, or ordinances handling function comply with the lowest nation requirements of applicability. All right, your point of contact, all matters pertaining with the establishment amendment with the clarification of the U.S. Coast Guard Transportation Hazmat Rules and Regulations refer to the Transportation Freight Program, Headquarters Commandment, Coast Guard 4141. Alright, training for the shipper, hazmat, mandatory. All personnel involved with the preparation, shipping, the hazmat commercial service of the military transportation must receive the IAW 49 CFR 172-704 training military air shipment, which in accordance with the preparing hazmat material military air shipment of the AFMAN 224-204 series, except for otherwise required by the chapter. For personnel responsible for the signing, shipping, and the commercial other sources may be used to extend to satisfy the required level of the function specific training needed. Personnel who satisfy the hazmat shipping, the building, landing, the Department of Defense 36 defense goods, the shipping, the pipe, and the declaration of emergency goods, emergency response information, hazardous material, transportation, government, the codes of the vessels, shipping, declaration, dangerous goods, the conduct function, and specific training of the subordinate personnel must successfully complete and approved hazardous material training. Hazmat training can be obtained with the faxing short-term request of the Coast Guard Form 5223 to the Transportation Freight Program Manager Commandment, the Coast Guard 441-202-267-456. 4516. Coast Guard personnel driving vehicle transportation hazmat, driver transportation hazmat over the public highways as a minimum will receive the training of the proper vehicle operation, security load, blocking and bracing, blocking yard requirements, vehicle route requirements, required documentation action in the event of the incident, accident, emergency, and notification procedure, licensing requirements identified in paragraph A1 and A2 below. Refresher training. All hazmat personnel must receive the initial training and a subsequent refresher every 2 years that applies to the level of required training, including the personnel and all involved with the certifying, shipping, the preparation, packaging, including hazmat and the transportation, referring to the transportation training of the personnel who certified the hazmat conducting the technical specialist training of the subordinate personnel must receive at one approved Department of Defense school. Schools offering hazmat refresher trainings are cited in paragraph E below. C. The training course of the hazmat certified. The following course of the authorized the personnel who prepare the certified the hazmat transportation hazardous materials basic recertification Navy Supply Corps School Athens Georgia or NSCDS Coast Guard primary source of the hazmat training with the certification short-term training request or STTTR Form C Coast Guard 5223 should be faxed to Transportation Freight Program Manager of the TO2 at 2022674516 for schedule of classes NSCS Navy Mil Training ASAP hazard material prepare class 345 TRS TTTT D Lakeland Air Force Base Texas is training of the source primarily supports the aviation personnel who prepare and or certify the hazardous material information available. Quoted training requests and can be attained by contacting off the Aviation Force Headquarters Commandment Air Crew Program Management 202-267-064. 7. Defensive Packaging Hazardous Material Transportation School Military Packaging Terminology or SMPT Arbington Proving Grounds and Maryland. No Coast Guard founded with the quotas available for this course must be used by the meeting of the training requirements. Tuition fee is charged to the Coast Guard personnel attending this course. Technical Transportation Hazardous Material Installation Traffic Management Hazardous Materials U.S. Defensive Military Ammunition Center School McAlester, Oklahoma. Note that the Coast Guard quotes are available for these courses but are maybe used in the meeting of the training requirements. Supplementary function and specific information for the additional training requires the meeting of the general awareness function specific training, and that can be found on the Office Logistic website. Click on Defensive Training records. All training, including the testing, will be documented in personnel records by the unit training officer maintaining the records as long as the person who works for the U.S. Coast Guard for 90 days after separation from the U.S. Coast Guard. The records must be indicate the following: name of the person received the training, date of the training took place, the description, a copy of the location of the training material, used training name, and the address of the person who provided with the training. Certifying the certification stating the completion of the training and testing. Application of the all personal certifying code or by satisfying shipping paper may be appointed by the written activity on unit commander that designated the representative appointment must include the specific open certification authority. See the exhibit 4.2 for the example of the hazmat certifier appointment letter. G. Routing. Carrier selection of the hazmat shipment will be arranged with the appropriate transportation management support activity of the Department of Defense GSA except for the following: Class Division 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, and 1, 4 munitions, Class 2, 2, 3 poison inhalation material, and Class 7 radioactive material yellow 3 label. For items contained in paragraph 1A, 1B, and 1C submitted with the domestic route order or DOD 108, 185 or the SDC, SDDC call 757-878-8525-8503, 8504, and 6134 for guidance. Submittal procedure for the application of hazmat ordinance refer to the dior.whms.mil/forms-DOD 10885. Providing assistance for the transportation service provided to promote the safety expedited transportation, ensure the delivery of the hazmat shipment. The U.S. Coast Guard personnel may extend the technical assistance aid in the considering necessary connection with the moving of the salvage, demolition, neutralization, and other disposition government-owned shipping being transported to the stored by the transportation service provider, except for the emergency situation. Request the transportation service provider for assistance must be written with the director of the transportation office and transportation agents in advance. Request for the transportation service to be provider to secure any of the transit of the Department of Defense, Coast Guard, or shipments that is sensitive to the classified cargo should be referred to the SDDC operation line. If assistance given, the government does not assume the liability, the transportation service provider may held responsible and also incurred within the government. 4. Collection of money services rendered with the or accordance with the Coast Guard Financing Center or FinCEN standard operations procedure, and going to FinCEN website at www.fincen.uscoastguard.mil/FinCEN/pubs. Motor movement license requirements with the drivers contained with the construct 11240.9 current in addition motor vehicle manual. Commercial driver, the U.S. Coast Guard civilian contractors may have a current commercial driver's license endorsed the hazmat type of the vehicle. The medical examiner certification information regarding the CDL can be obtained with the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Program at www.fmsca.gov/safety-program/cdl.html. Military personnel drivers will be trained and licensed prior to the transportation of the hazmat. Air, water, and rail movement requirements refer to the publication cited with the paragraph B of the chapter type after 204 to the Defense of Transportation Regulation Part 2. Accidents, incidents, or delays when shipping a hazard class division 11, 12, 13, or 14 munitions 2.3 or 6.1 PI poison and inhalation class 7 radioactive requiring label 3 materials. The Department Transportation Officer will furnish the vehicle with written instruction with the shipping paper as defined in Title 49 CFR Part 171.8. Notify the consignee with the as is available means for when shipping and is involved with the accident, incident, delayed en route with a period of 12 hours or more. Emergency response information. Commercial transportation service provider. The hazmat emergency response information will be noted at the front of the sheet of the building and landing. See Exhibit 4.3 for the sample. The building and landing contains the hazmat information. The following emergency response telephone numbers must be anointed with the first page of the building and landing in bold, the highlighted letters. The shippers should only anoint the applicable emergency response telephone numbers as noted below. For the Department of Defense Hazard Class 1 explosives, only the Army Operations Center collect the 703-697-0218-0219. Ask for watch officer, CODOD, non-explosive hazard material on only 1-800-85-0061 for shipments. See the 804-279-316 for transit international free shipment. And the Department of Defense non-explosive hazard material 011-804-279-3131. The Hazardous Substance Spill Only's National Response Center, the 1-800-424-8802, day or night, 202, 267, and 265 in District of Columbia. Government military-owned vehicle that has emergency response information and noted by the Department of Defense 836 dangerous goods shipping with the declaration of emergency response information for the hazardous material transported with the government vehicles contained in the vessels. M. Forms. Required forms for the hazmat movement V with the government of the military-owned vehicle. The Department of Defense 626 military vehicle inspection. Shipping activity must be prepared. The Department of Defense 626 government military-owned vehicles are used to transport hazmat on public highways. See Exhibit 44. For example, the Department of Defense 6226 with all spaces of the 6226 completed with the government and military-owned vehicles. Additional pages may be used if necessary. Shipments may not be tendered and unnecessary information. Unsatisfactory items noted not corrected. The Department of Defense 836 dangerous goods and shipping the PEB or declaration of emergency response information has material transported with the government vehicles and containers of vessels. The Department of Defense 836 will be using the shipping paper of emergency response information for all government military-owned vehicles transporting hazmat. See Exhibit 45. Both the Department of Defense 836 and the emergency response instruction will provide information required for the enable the driver to protect self-landing vehicle and any other life of the property or vicinity of the hazard associated with the accident incident. Drivers shall be evacuated distance specified with the emergency response guidebook. Later revisions where the driver is required to carry. The origin government of the military delivery will be instructed to keep the Department of Defense 836 the vehicle transporting hazmat transportation if and each of the successive driver for the delivery of the consignee when security escort vehicle services SE personal performing services will be provided duplicated to the Department of Defense 836. Alright, now we move on to the papers. So this is Exhibit 4.1, a sample container certification vehicle declaration. A commanding officer, subject, authorization certifies hazardous materials, Title 49, CFR 100 to 185, IATA, Dangerous Code Regulations, International Maritime Dangerous Good Relations, Air Force Inter-Service Manual, Transportation of Freight, Construct 46105, Series, the SK, Commercial Bill of Landing continuation sheet, Motor Vehicle Inspection, Transportation Hazardous Materials, Continued Vehicle Inspection, Instructions. Hazmat sheet. Hazmat emergency response info. Exhibit DD, Department of Defense Form 836. Instructions at 836. 836C. Intentionally left blank, Chapter 5.